Hey guys, welcome back to the Mojo Homestead. So I wasn't really planning on doing a video on this, but I figured, why not? You know, I'm a landscaper, let's throw some landscaping things in there. So I'm working on the pond, and we had a buttonbush here, and it was just way too big. They can vary in size depending on their condition. So if you look it up, it's gonna say anywhere from like 4 feet up to like 10 feet. Well, apparently, the one I planted loved the area, and it was definitely pushing 10 feet and starting to crowd out everything else around it. So I went ahead and ripped it out. We replaced it with a hardy hibiscus. So that will be a little less invasive as far as space, and be smaller and better suited for that size. So I'm gonna replant the buttonbush over at the edge of our woods, right over there. It gets morning sun, afternoon shade. These guys can take pretty much anything. They are a native. They prefer wet soil, but they can tolerate a little bit drier conditions. Now they're not gonna tolerate like drought conditions very well, but they like sun or part sun, even part shade. And so it's a very easy plant to grow. It's not necessarily like the most ornamental, but it is great for pollinators. It is a huge nectar source coming out of the summer. And so that's why we initially planted it. That's why I don't want to throw it away. I want to keep it on the property. Butterflies love it, especially those really big like swallowtail varieties of butterflies. The bumblebees love it. Honeybees love it. All of your other native smaller bees really like it and will flock to it. So this is everything that I cut off of it, and it's a lot. So the bloom I'm gonna show you is really cool, and this is why it gets it. There's actually a bee on it right now. So the blooms look like little pin cushions. It gets its name from the blooms, the buttonbush. You see him working those flowers, and all day these things will be covered in pollinators and all sorts of stuff. So again, that is definitely why we're wanting to keep it. Really cool bush when it flowers. These things are kind of hang almost like little pendulums off of the ends of each branch. Outside of that, there's really not much showiness to it. Just kind of a generic medium texture leaf that's a medium green, medium size. I didn't even think to look for it. We did find a praying mantis on it yesterday. I should have looked for it and tried to find it. But let's go over and plant what is left of that buttonbush. I did want to show you guys. So I did get most of the roots. A lot of the big ones did have to be cut, but I think this guy will be fine. They're really hardy. That's a great thing about natives. What you sacrifice on some of the ornamental value of natives, you make up for in the toughness and survivability of them. So I got my hole dug. We're just gonna put it in there, put dirt around it, and see what happens. So with this spot, it is a low spot. I can crawl out from underneath it. It is a low spot, and all of the water from the front part of the property flows down this way, so it will get inundated with water when it rains. And we don't have irrigation or anything out here, so it is pretty much gonna have to do it on its own, which is why I've waited until this time of year to do it. It's getting ready to go into dormancy. It will lose all of its leaves. Oh, our dogs are excited and barking at something. So that is the best time to plant it, because it's not going to have all of its leaves to have to support with water intake and all of that. It's the other reason why I cut it back. Anytime you transplant something, you want to cut it way back so that you can get all of those excess water takers, aka leaves, out of there. So you just take the stress off of the roots. This will probably end up dropping its leaves early this year, but should have plenty down there to get through the winter time, and then come springtime, it will be rooted in, ready to go. So the other thing I'm gonna do is take a lot of the excess dirt that's under me right now and remove that, and then kind of create pretty much a berm on that back side, so we create kind of a holding area that will catch water and allow as much water as possible to get down to those roots. All right, so bermed it up on that backside. Also kind of created almost like a canal that will lead any water that's in this area, trying to get it to go towards that plant. Again, the only time this thing's really gonna get water is when it rains. And so I want it to be able to collect as much rainwater as possible. Right now, I'm gonna get the hose on this thing, drench it in, make it easier on those roots, give it enough water to be able to really get settled in. Make sure any air pockets that are under there where dirt didn't get down to it, get filled in with the dirt. The water will help that dirt to settle down in there. I'm sorry, my little guy is like copying me. There he is. You're gonna keep copying me? So that is Buttonbush, a great plant, one that if you've got the space and the right spot for it, I would strongly encourage you to find one and get it on your property. It's a lot of fun just to watch the activity towards the end of the summer, going into the fall on those things with the butterflies, the bees. You get lizards in there. Like I said, we had a praying mantis on there. It just draws in a lot of your smaller wildlife in the area. This is a perfect plant if you've got a wet spot in your yard that just takes a long time to dry out. Also, if you've got a rain garden in your yard, this is a great addition to that if you don't already have one in it. It is one that you'd really want to use as probably more kind of the focal point or the middle section where you need some height. Again, ours was pushing 10 feet tall, so it was really getting up there. Definitely was pushing 6 to 8 feet wide as well. So you want to give it room, something that you can easily build around with other plants and really kind of disguise the fact that there's not much going on with this plant outside of the bloom time and give other interest around it. I appreciate you joining me for that, and hopefully you learned a little bit. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like the information on here, go ahead and subscribe, hit that bell. But we thank you guys for joining us. Have a great week and be blessed.